Greetings, everyone. Part of the conversation for us around Trinity has been, where's God leading us? Where by the power of the Holy Spirit are we being called into ministry? With that in mind, your church council this year has decided that they're going to bring different speakers in from time to time at council to chat about different ministries or different things that are going on in the community. A way for us to keep our ears open, to be looking, to be pondering and praying about what God is up to. This month, Sister Kathleen Atkinson from Ministry on the Margins came and spent some time with council. As we will, each time there's a guest, we sat down and did a brief interview. So here's what she has to say about ministry here in the Bismarck community.
Ministry on the Margins is a volunteer-based ecumenical group of people committed to helping people who fall through the cracks, especially at times of transitions like prison, re-entering into society, unemployment into employment, homelessness into homing. There's just so much marginal space that people get lost in. Ministry on the Margins began in 2013, just a couple of blocks from Trinity Lutheran Church, and right from the beginning, we took this approach that we would just listen. And so, of course, I'm a Benedictine, so we listen. And then the two phrases that continue to shape us would be, thank you, and I didn't know. I kept coming back to my parents, my family, and saying, thank you for what you gave me as a child. Thank you for my home. And then I'd say, I didn't know that Bismarck had families living in little motel rooms. I didn't know, and this is where we began, that people, when they come out of prison, have no support. I even know in my family, living in this neighborhood, there was time that Mom and Dad would bring in someone who was down on their luck, or someone in the neighborhood had an uncle that came and stayed, and you didn't talk about what he had done, but you knew he had done something. Or he just couldn't keep a job, so he could go out and be a hired hand or just a help on the farm. Most people don't own their homes. They're renting and leasing, and so now they're restricted of who they can allow to come in, how many people can come in. If I would be coming out of prison, I couldn't go back home because my mom is living in a setting in which she can't take me in because of my felony. So 2 generations ago, I would have been absorbed, and now I'm out on the street. Self-medication through alcohol, through other drugs, is a method of survival. Why do we say the concept shelter first? Because if it's hot or cold or windy, and I say, listen, you go outside and stay outside overnight for a few nights until you get real sober, and then come back. You're not, right? Because you're going to find a way to survive, and in the cold, it's cheaper to survive with a bottle of bad booze. It's survival. We're certainly trying to balance responsibility and assistance. I say at the ministry, you can come in and you can be drunk, and you can be high, and you can be off your medications. You can't be a jerk. Okay, it's behavior related. So we do that behavior related piece. But we also talk about, when I talk about like the ministry, the margins, margin is not just a split and a single action. It's gradual, so it takes you through whatever the transition is. And so if at the ministry, if you have been given shelter for a night in a motel, you're given it for the night, and the next morning, you need to be across the street at the ministry meeting with the person to do follow-up before you get the second night. So that encourages you. Doesn't always happen. One of the things that, we take very literally is called Matthew 25. I was hungry, you fed me. I was homeless, you gave me shelter. And Jesus never put any caveat or requirements in there. It's just a direct relationship. So we take that. Now you can lose that privilege. But then our scriptures are filled with the story of the prodigal son, and you take them back. So do we deserve? Yeah. I'm an education major, and I know that Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that I've got that bottom line of food, shelter, clothing before you can start moving me up the pyramid. And so food, shelter, clothing is something everybody deserves because they're human beings. And we have to believe it stronger because we believe they're in the image of God. When you're out on the street, you're never safe. Because if you go to sleep, someone is going to steal what you have. And what you have is so little. One of the things that I've learned from the people on the street because I value family, I value relationships, I save a lot too much. Memories. Imagine losing all of that and only having what you can carry in your backpack for your whole life. And so you have nothing that gives you grounding. You have no picture of a parent. You have none of the memories that we just assume are normal. And you always have to be on the watch because someone's going to steal the little bit that you have from you. Often people talk about the relationships that they form. I'll sleep while you watch out. And then you sleep while I watch. And just imagine how strong that is, not only about stealing, but it's as basic in survival as it's winter, and I'm going to watch to make sure you don't die. Ministry on the Margin so much is not a program. It's that reflective piece of saying, what do I want in the deepest part of my heart for my family, my loved ones? And then expanding that to a God family. Not in a holy, wimpy, light way, but in just real dirt and guts.
Thanks for listening in to this conversation with Sister Kathleen Atkinson. We want to thank her for being with us. So at the same time, I'd ask you to continue to pray for Trinity Lutheran, that our eyes might be opened to the Spirit's leading, that we might engage in ministry opportunities through experiments to try to figure out where we're being called. Blessings.